Hello there. Take 472.
Well, hello to our 9 subscribers.
This is our first interview. I'm finding it awkward of what I'm supposed to say. Cut. Look, we wanted to sort of just talk through the beginning, really. So when we found the boat, we found Rosetta out in Ferragudo, right at the beginning of COVID, wasn't it? We found Rosetta. We found our Westerly 33 catch. She was on anchor. She was kind of stuck with its owner, Jay. He had personal situations where he had to get back to his pregnant girlfriend in Germany. We found the advert, I think it was on Facebook or Instagram.
Was it
Instagram. We went, organised a viewing, went to go and see him. Had a couple of looks around the boat, took some friends round that are also liverboards. They had a look round, and from that we thought it was the boat for us. I mean,
yeah,
I was more sceptical than Kylie, wasn't I?
Yeah, it was kind of like love at first sight for me. I think as soon as I sat on that side of the couch there, I just knew she was the one. I knew it.
But she was so dirty.
Yeah, disgusting.
She was filthy.
Yeah, really.
She'd not been very well maintained and looked after for a while. We knew we were buying a definite project boat, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we still are. So after, like you say, after visiting the boat, 3-4 times?
Yeah.
Then we did a test sail. We then decided to purchase the boat. We went through that process. It was an odd situation where Jay had to leave to get his flight. He left his little dinghy with no engine at the fishing dock for us, and we came with our fingers crossed, hoping that we hadn't transferred money, and he sailed away. But no, he left us his dinghy, and we had all the paperwork done by then, so the boat was in our name and all that kind of thing. And we rowed across for the first time, didn't we?
Yeah, that was an experience.
That was an experience, stepping on, and some work to do, wasn't there, to say the least.
Yeah. Full to the top of Jay's stuff, which we had to decide where we're going to put it. Plus a weird mermaid suit, which was strange.
Yeah, well, I think that was an ex-girlfriend or something, wasn't it? Or a partner. But then she was on anchor, we had nowhere to keep her. And we needed to basically organise a haul out at some point. Because we'd not seen underneath her. We know she's not been out for a while, but we didn't know to what extent was going to happen underneath. So we trusted Jenny's word. He'd done a full osmosis treatment. He showed me all the purchases, all the eBay purchases, all the receipts, all the photos, all the evidence that he'd done the work. So I'd seen all that. So the boat had a full osmosis treatment when he bought the boat. So I was pretty confident in the hull and what was underneath. But the boat actually was in the fishing area, the fishing dock, and the big ships come in and they turn around. Obviously, they hadn't been coming in due to COVID, so the boat needed to be moved. So we moved the boat a little bit further up into the mouth of the river of Ferragudo. Little did we know that we would then get stuck at that point.
So obviously we had a lot of things to clean, and one of the things we had to clean was the dinghy. Which the underneath, I've honestly never seen the underneath of a dinghy looking like that. It was really, really dirty. So we took it to the little gas station over here by Portimao, and we did like a jet spray on it. And it was actually traumatic. Like,
it was for you. It was all right for me.
I think the maintenance people didn't fix the grates that go underneath your car when you go and wash your car. But I fell through one of the grates because they'd been bent open, and I cut my ankle really bad. It
was actually pretty scary until it was funny.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh God, that's it, she's gone forever. Trapped with a leg between a grate. But it turns out it just slipped out, but it was okay. So finally the day came for us to haul out Rosetta and actually see what was underneath her. That was a really exciting day, actually. Because that was like the beginning of it, for me anyway, the beginning of Rosetta turning into our boat and what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
We were sort of borrowing someone else's boat in how I felt until it was haul out day. So we had our scheduled haul out time. We turned the engine on, ready to go. We started to pull up the anchor. There's no windlass, so we're pulling this up by hand at this point. And she is not pulling up at all. Try and drive around her, drive in all different directions. She is not coming up. So obviously at this stage we're under then time pressure because we've got our time for the lift scheduled and we can't move the boat. She's stuck.
The anchor got stuck. Yeah, anchor. Had to get a diver.
What we had to do, obviously we're in Portugal, so luckily I speak a little bit of Portuguese. Carly speaks a little bit of Portuguese, but trying to find the different authorities you have to speak to. So we rang the sort of maritime police and they said, well, you need to ring this number to find a diver who was actually the part of the bomberos and the lifeboat people here in Portugal. So after 4 or 5 different phone calls with the water taxi man, with everybody else, we finally got hold of the diver. The diver came out. He was brilliant, but he went down, followed the chain. He said you wrapped around another mooring, another anchor. So it took a while to get us free, didn't it? Luckily, he got us free. Had to strap some lines to the chain and then use the winch to winch them up because they were too heavy for the diver to lift on the bottom. The time police came and they were helping the diver because they were pulling, they were attaching and reversing away, and it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
What a way to start off your sailing journey.
Yeah. And eventually we were free, and when we set off to the haul out, obviously we were probably 2 hours, 3 hours late for our schedule, coming to the end of the day. We ring up the marina and say, hey, we're here, we're ready, we've been stuck. They've been watching us actually through binoculars through the tower. And they were nice enough to say, look, there's a boat coming, being dropped in, and as soon as that's in, you can come back out on the final lift of the day. So, and obviously lifting the boat out, we finally saw what was underneath her. Oh my God. Jesus, that would have served a seafood restaurant for a good couple of months. We ate well that night. There's a lot of growth, and then there was a fishing wire all wrapped around the propeller.
When we tried to take all the barnacles off, they were just leftovers of weird looking sticky out things.
Squirting at us.
Squirting. It's absolutely vile little squirty things.
It smelled good as well,
It
didn't
smelled
it?
awful. I think I smelled for about 2 weeks after.
3
weeks. My clothes smelled. I smelled.
So once she's on the hard, then we've kind of assessing what we've got, and we worked hard, didn't we? You especially worked very hard because obviously I had to go to work.
Yeah.
When I was at work, you were grinding keels and sanding and all sorts of things. But, so we scraped the whole hull with chiseling off all the barnacles. Then we sanded the whole hull down. We've got some really good friends here in Portimao. Vasily from Slick Hull, he walked us through, so we worked with those guys from Slick Hull and they walked us through how to do it, and a big shout out to them. We couldn't have done it without Vasily, could we? So
shout out to Vasily.
So we really go to town, sanding it down and sanding it, and then we say, Vasily, are we good to paint? And he'd come round and he'd go, no, keep sanding, get all those little white barnacles off. Oh God. So it was tough work, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was funny because I was inside the tent and Vasily came in the tent and was like, where's your boyfriend?
I left all the girly jobs to you, angle grinding the keel. But no, so we took all the little imperfections out, and then you had some fun with some epoxy resin and learn how to epoxy and fill them all in.
Yeah, I had a great opportunity with Vasily's workers, and they taught me how to make epoxy, to mix it together, and then how to apply it onto the keel. So that was really good fun because they didn't speak much English, so I was just learning with hand signals.
Yeah, that's good.
So that was good.
And the keel to hull deck joint, the keel to hull joint. We ground that down, and then we put some really nice Sikaflex in there, and then epoxied all that. So all that is now like really flush, and no water can get in there at all. And then it was on to primer and anti-foul. The prime went on smooth, and then anti-foul, and then we did a 1 coat of anti-foul, 2 coats of anti-foul, Vasily said, keep going, 3 coats of anti-foul. And after all that work, it was finally time to drop her back in the water.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Which
2
was nice.
weeks of hard work every day, all day.
Yeah, it was really tough.
Yeah.
Putting her back in the water though was that was a really stressful time. For me especially,
Yeah, that
because
was stressful.
the stress came for me because the annoying thing, obviously, when you've got your boat, you're on blocks and then it's on stands, and those stands have the pads that are holding the boat up. Obviously, underneath the parts that were touching the hull to keep it up, we couldn't access to clean anti-foul, prime anti-foul, and sort out. What we could have done is paid a whole new lift just to move her 30 centimetres to expose those points and keep her in the lift so we can do underneath the keel. But that was 170 euros to do that. So what it meant is, and we were under stress, so we were hoping as the guys came up, lifted it up, gave us, but I didn't know, there was communication was difficult. I was expecting sort of 10 minutes to rush around and grind everything off the bottom of the keel, prime and anti-foul. Turns out we had about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do it all.
Very blasé about it.
Everyone was very relaxed, weren't they? Which turned out quite nice. So we did a proper job, got it all looking nice, but obviously running around like, I think I might have upset you a little bit that day.
You upset me a lot.
I upset you. When I get stressed, sometimes I get
I get
upset
very
you.
mad at you when you're stressed.
But all worked out well.
Yeah.
We dropped her in the water, and there we are. We're on the way.
Yeah, and after we put her in the water, we decided to put her into the marina.
We'd made contact with someone who already had a berth in Portimao Marina who no longer has a boat, so we put her straight in that position for, I think we looked at a couple of months or something like that, or a couple of weeks.
I'm a little superstitious. And a little stitious. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, or head over to our Instagram and give us a follow, or go to Patreon where you can make these videos possible with a small donation. Thank you so much, and see you next time.